From playing soccer in the hills of Cameroon to being an NBA MVP, the story of Joel Embiid is filled with lots of struggles and even a tragedy that would almost make him quit basketball forever. But hold up, before we get into that, how did he get into the USA in the first place, and what part did his family play, especially under the care of a strict military father? Well, find out all the answers to that and more. I'm Jesse with Basketball Dive, and this is the story of Joel Embiid's family. Joel Hans Embiid was born in Yaoundé, Cameroon, to father Thomas and mother Christine. Growing up, Joel was the oldest child of the Embiids who enjoyed soccer but preferred playing volleyball. But then the initiative carried out by former NBA player Luc Richard Mbah a Moute would completely change Joel's life forever. You know that guy, right? If you're a Rockets fan, you certainly do, or even a Clippers fan, Milwaukee, Sacramento Kings, or Timberwolves fan. You get the point. Guy played around the league. But the truth is, we can't talk about Embiid without talking about Luc first. Just hear me out. Luc Mbah a Moute was born to a tribal leader in his village. He was a prince, well respected in his community before he ever became an NBA player. Now, you might think he was the only NBA player from Cameroon before the likes of Embiid and Siakam, but before Luc had played basketball, Ruben Boumtje was the first Cameroonian to have ever played in the NBA. But it wasn't Ruben that introduced Mbah a Moute to basketball, it was actually his twin brother, Emmanuel Mbah a Moute. Emmanuel introduced the game to him, and they first started out by nailing a bucket with no base to the wall. Now, let's fast forward a decade or more. After Luc made it to the NBA through the help of Joel Embiid, he went back to his roots to create an environment that would give other Cameroonians a chance to use basketball as a way to provide for their families and hopefully find someone who could become a bigger star than he ever was. And this was how Luc discovered the Luc Mbah a Moute Foundation. The goal of the foundation is to help young people in Cameroon get international opportunities through empowerment programs, including the offer of scholarships and, of course, standard basketball training. Joel Embiid was the first Cameroonian ever to play in the NCAA, but was also instrumental in discovering Embiid in 2011 through his friend Yanga. Then Embiid talked to Luc about the young Joel, and soon he was part of Luc's Basketball Without Borders camp in South Africa. 3 months into the camp, Luc called Montverde Academy in Florida, his former school, and arranged for the 16-year-old to go to the United States, and the rest, as they say, is history. But as you can imagine, it wasn't as easy as 1, 2, 3, bam, you're in the USA or anything. Getting Joel's father to even agree to his son playing basketball was a huge mountain to climb. So how did they manage to do it? Well, to know this, we have to know who Thomas Embiid is. Not much is known about the background of Joel's father, or mother for that matter, but Thomas Embiid was a professional handball player and a military officer in his country of Cameroon. While he was said to have captained the Cameroon national side as a handball player, as a soldier he served for a long time and reached the rank of colonel. Then he became the president of the Handball Federation, so it wouldn't be difficult to convince him to let his son play basketball, right? Psych. Thomas wouldn't even hear of it. It wasn't that he didn't want his son to be an athlete, he just didn't want him to play basketball because he thought it was too physical of a game for him. Thomas also wanted his son to focus on school, and the only compromise he would allow would be volleyball. This is because there was a lower risk of injury since volleyball didn't require much contact. In addition to the rigors of basketball, there was also the case of the sport not being very popular in Cameroon. Nobody really cared much about the game. In Cameroon, it was soccer first and maybe volleyball and track coming in third, but basketball was hardly ever spoken for. In soccer, at least his parents could hope that their kid would become like the icon Samuel Eto'o, who was a Barcelona legend, just like Joel's first coach Guy Modio, who would later say in an interview, quote, "Parents see Cameroonian soccer stars Samuel Eto'o or Alex Song, and they think my son can do that. With basketball, they don't see that. They might know Luc Mbah a Moute, but even he's not famous enough. Some people don't know who he is." End quote. So who broke the deadlock between Thomas Embiid and his son's basketball dreams? Well, this is where Didier Yanga comes in to change everything. Thomas had two brothers who were athletes just like him. There is Pierre-Paul Dionga, who played handball professionally and was well known in Cameroon for winning 7 championship titles and 5 Cameroon Cups with Meton. And then there is Didier Yanga, who played basketball himself. Yanga also played in the 2006 FIBA Africa Cup, representing Zenith, an Ivorian team. He was also made the coach of the Zenith senior basketball team in 2009 while also working as a web designer and teacher. It was Yanga who finally got through to Colonel Thomas when he asked him, and with that, the Colonel finally began to see reason. Once that was out of the way, Yanga contacted his old friend Joe Talmu, who was working with the US State Department as a sports consultant, about Joel through an email in 2011. In it, he told Talmu that he had a nephew who was 6 foot 7 inches tall, and he attached a photo of Joel and said he had just started playing basketball. Then it was up to Talmu, who at this point is very important to the story. Joseph Talmu was from the small town of Yaoundé, just like Embid. He played basketball in the US from 1995 to 1999 after being recruited as part of the last African players during the John Thompson era. He played for Williamson High School and wasn't necessarily the best player, especially offensively, but when it came to defending, Joe was a very valuable asset. After he graduated from Georgetown University with a degree in international relations and government studies, he became a basketball mentor, coach, and scout. Before working for his home continent, he worked as a scout for the Indiana Pacers. Then he worked at Florida State University and the University of Missouri as a player development coach. He has traveled to over 30 countries just for the sake of advancing basketball opportunities and programs in these countries, especially in Africa. He is currently the Associate Technical Director of NBA Academy at the National Basketball Association and co-owns the Play to Lead Foundation that uses sports to create educational and leadership opportunities for youths. Basically, Joe has been an international treasure in the world of basketball, in short. So when Joe got that email from his friend, he quickly flew to his hometown to speak to his parents about the opportunities he could provide for Joel. Quote, "There's no way we're going to let this boy play basketball. He's too stubborn." This was what Embiid's mother Christine told Talmu, and Thomas agreed with his wife. Joel's parents had already allowed their son to play basketball, but it was because Talmu had told them the possibility of taking him abroad that turned them off. So Talmu assured them, if you want your son to go to school, Joel can go to the best schools in the US. If you want him to make money, he can go to the NBA if he becomes good. He also reminded them that he had helped other kids like Ba Mute, and so they let their kid, who was 16 years old at the time, have his way. Talmu was also the one that gave Joel his first Hakeem Olajuwon tapes, which helped him become the NBA star that he is today. Now, with Joel's parents on board, they gave him all the support he needed. In fact, after Joel failed to go to his first basketball practice, it was his father who compelled him to go the very next day. And then 3 months after Joel started playing the game, Talmu went to the Colonel again with the news that would change their family's life forever. Joel had gotten the opportunity to travel to the US to play high school basketball in Florida. Thomas admits that it was tough for him, especially knowing that his son was going to be all alone, but he still wanted the best for Joel, and so he let him go. 4 years later, in 2014, Thomas, his wife, and Joel's sister Muriel were all with Joel in Los Angeles. It was the day he was going to get drafted, but he couldn't make it to New York where the event was held because of his injury. There was a cast on his right foot, but he managed to wear a white tee and tie, and together with his family, they watched the event from their private room in LA, and they were all cheery when Adam Silver announced him as the 3rd overall pick for the 76ers. Thomas Embid was all smiles as he shook his son's hand and the hands of his agents and the media people present. And as for Mama, she screamed excitedly, getting off her seat to kiss and hug her son. And with that, let's finally meet Joel's mother, Christine Embid. As we said, not much is known about Christine Embid's background, but she reportedly played handball herself. Joel considers his mom to be as strict as his father, especially with education. You never want to be caught slipping when it comes to homework or school that much, Joel and his siblings knew. Nevertheless, though strict, she was surprisingly quite supportive of her son's dreams of becoming a basketball player, even though she worried about his education. Christine usually covered for Joel when he would secretly sneak out to play basketball against his father's wishes. And even now that her son has become a superstar making tens of millions and probably even more, she still covers for him, but in a different way. She is part of the team that manages the Arthur Embid and Angels Foundation created by Embid and his family. This foundation helps people in need, especially children in Cameroon and even in Philadelphia. It provides empowerment through sports education and health programs by raising funds and partnering with world bodies such as UNICEF. The Arthur Embid and Angels Foundation was formed in honor of Joel's late brother Arthur, who died tragically the year Joel was drafted into the NBA. It was a terrible, sad loss that has left Joel with just a single sibling now. Joel had grown up with 2 younger siblings, a sister named Muriel and his brother Arthur. There's hardly any info out there about Muriel, but she looks like the shy type that just wants to stay out of the range of the camera as much as possible. Nevertheless, it is believed that she played volleyball for the Rochester University volleyball team, and she looks as physically overwhelming as her brother Joel. We were also able to get a glimpse of her hugging Joel during draft day. Arthur Embid was 13 years old when he tragically passed away in October of 2014 after a truck hit him while he was walking home from school. The last time Joel had seen his beloved brother was 3 years ago at the time the accident happened. This is because he had been held in America by high school, college, and of course basketball. 3 years and poof, the chance of ever seeing him again was all gone. It was the toughest pill to swallow for Embid. Even though his coach at the time, Brett Brown, Ba Mute, and general manager Sam Hinkie had accompanied Joel to Cameroon after the death, it was still not enough for him. Joel considered quitting basketball. He was suffering through injuries in his rookie season, couldn't play a single game yet, and now his only brother had died? No way. This loss messed with Joel so much, and according to accounts by Joel, Arthur meant a lot to him, of course. During a piece he wrote for the Players Tribune, which was titled "The Only Way Is Through," he wrote that he missed his first day at the Luc Ba Mute camp because he was playing FIFA with Arthur at home. He also revealed, "I think we got that one person in our life who was just always giving off positive energy. That person who was just fun to be around, you know? And who was always rooting for you no matter what. For me, that was Arthur." But after a while, he said he just had to find the reason why he loved the game in the first place. Writing further in that article, he said, "I was only able to get back home for a few weeks for his funeral. When I came back to Philly, I kept rehabbing, trying to get better, but I was in a really bad place. With Arthur gone, I felt like I had lost my purpose in life. I really just wanted to quit the game and go back home to Cameroon to be with my family. And you know, it's not like a movie where someone sat me down and had some conversation with me, or I picked up a basketball and all of a sudden everything was okay." In tribute to his brother, Joel named his first son after him. He announced his birth on September 25th, 2020 through his Instagram handle. His name is Arthur Elijah de Paula Embid, and Joel joked in his caption about starting a football team and making his son one of the first players. The caption read, "We are so blessed and fortunate to welcome our little boy in this family. First of 11 or more? Trying to convince her, but I'm not winning so far. I'm just trying to build a soccer team, but for real. I'm so excited for the future, and my life has a new meaning. Kudos to Ann de Paula for being so strong and giving me the greatest gift our life can offer. Hashtag God is good." Joel had this child with his girlfriend, Ann de Paula. Ann de Paula is the only girl Joel Embiid has officially dated, but before her, Embiid had long expressed a crush on Rihanna. TMZ revealed in 2017 that Embiid said he would like to be an All-Star because he would have a better shot at Rihanna. This is because Rihanna reportedly told him, "Come back when you're an All-Star." So when Embiid finally got his first All-Star selection in 2018, he felt like he could try again, and obviously that never happened. Anyway, we all know who's got Rihanna's heart now, don't we? But thankfully, Joel has also found love with Ann de Paula. They met through a mutual friend at a dinner party in New York in 2018, and they had started as friends who just had a lot of things in common, such as their mutual fluency in speaking French and their love for soccer. And soon their friendship morphed into something deeper, and now they both share a son, the little kid we met earlier that is named after Embiid's late brother Arthur. Embiid is completely enamored with Ann and never fails to show her off. I mean, just look at this post of them kissing at the famous Great Wall of China. But who is Ann de Paula really? Born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on March 31st, 1995, Ann was persuaded by her father to play football at the age of 8, but she quit the game and went into modeling when she was 13 years old through her mother's advice. She is currently a fashion supermodel of sorts with over 200,000 followers on her Instagram page. Dang, 200,000. That's a lot. Well, with time, I know we can get there as well, so hey, if you're enjoying the video, well, you know what to do. She blew up after winning the 2017 swimsuit model search competition organized by Sports Illustrated, where she became a 2018 SI swimsuit rookie, and now she represents the fashion brand Wilhelmina as an affiliate. By the way, did you know that Dream Hakeem Olajuwon, another NBA legend, is from neighboring Nigeria? Yup, and oh, hey, look at that, there's a video showing right here about him and his family. Yeah, you should go check it out.